Canadians are paying a lot more attention to the food we eat, but not to the existence of the animals we eat, or the laws which allow for an assembly line life and death. W5 has been provided undercover video filmed by an animal rights group inside a turkey slaughterhouse, and it reveals methods which are completely legal. But as Victor Malarick investigates, it is also quite cruel. And a warning for some of you, parts of this can be tough to watch.
It's the traditional holiday meal, oven-roasted turkey. Last year, Canadians bought more than 7 million whole turkeys, most of those for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But how did this delicious bird get to your table? Well, the images we're about to show you are far less appetizing. This is the end of the line for these turkeys on their way from the farm to the fork. The Safina processing plant in Abbotsford, BC. These birds will eventually end up as Lilydale turkey products in grocery stores across the country. But first, they face the slaughter line. It's a stage of food production that consumers rarely, if ever, get to see. W5 has been given hidden camera footage obtained by Mercy for Animals, an international organization dedicated to preventing cruelty to farm animals.
Let's go for a walk, buddy. Good boy. Good boy.
Canadian Vice President Krista Hiddema says the group didn't target Safina.
How did you end up selecting this particular slaughterhouse?
Our whistleblower simply applied for jobs, and he literally took the first job that hired him.
It can be risky business going into a factory to secretly document what goes on. We've agreed not to identify the worker who got a job here and videotaped what he saw.
You ever get scared that you might get caught?
Yes, I was definitely scared.
What do you think would have happened to you?
I think employees would have been very angry finding out what I was doing. I probably would have been fired.
The young man was hired for what's called a live hang position.
Live hang is basically taking the birds that arrive in the transport trailers and pulling them out and putting them on shackles while they're still alive.
Live hanging. It's the first step in the slaughter process, and it's hard to hang birds this big.
Grab like that, bring up against your leg.
That employee was showing me how to live hang the birds. He basically was jabbing them to stop them from moving.
Jabbing them with what?
His fist.
His fist?
Yes.
In other words, punching them?
Yes. Most of my time there, I saw many birds that are rough-handled. The overall processing line speed is quite quick, which results in employees roughly pulling birds out of transport crates. Birds are pulled by their wings, by their legs, basically anything you can grab the bird by. A lot of times this resulted in birds having their leg broken, and basically they're still hanged anyway. So they're left to hang with broken legs.
So basically, if it looks injured or whatever, they just hang it up anyway.
If the bird is alive, we are to hang her.
Doesn't matter what's wrong as long as it's breathing.
Yes, that's correct.
You see a lot of that?
Yes, on a daily basis.
Live hanging, that's the first step. Then the birds move down the line to the shock tank, where they are dragged through electrified water that is supposed to render them senseless. But sometimes the line stops.
Why would the line be stopped?
According to the employees that I asked, line stops were generally due to some sort of mechanical error in the plant. One of the hardest things that I saw was line stops. Some of these lasted up to 20 minutes long, and birds were left hanging upside down in shackles, some with broken legs, and they would be left to basically hang there. I witnessed many birds that had saliva coming out of their mouth as they were grasping for air, very much in distress. It was quite shocking to see this type of inhumane treatment to animals. You can definitely tell that they're fearful of what's happening.
These line stoppages, they a rare occurrence?
No, I would say line stoppage was very common, happened on a daily basis, sometimes 30 seconds, sometimes 20 minutes.
And all that time, the birds are in distress.
Yes, that's correct. Birds were left to hang upside down, and we were never once instructed to remove the birds. We were just instructed to relax.
Take a break.
Take a break.
We warn you, the next step on the slaughter line is probably the hardest to watch. The turkeys, supposedly shocked into unconsciousness, are carried towards the kill blade. Their throats slit so they will bleed out. But sometimes birds miss the automatic blade. One of the most important jobs in this factory is the backup killer, the employee responsible for making sure every bird's throat is slit properly.
The blades, how do birds like miss the blade and miss that whole process?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of the birds are vary in size. The blade is generally set for a certain size of bird. So birds that are smaller will miss the blade, which is the job of the backup killer to slit those throats.
And if the backup killer isn't paying attention, that bird goes by
That's correct.
and can go into the scalding tank alive.
Yes.
And did you see that on a daily basis or from time to time? Or?
Not on a daily basis, but it occurred quite often.
The last step on this slaughter line is the scalding tank to soften the feathers. If the turkey's throat is not slit properly, the birds will go into the tank alive.
But, I mean, it's not the drowning that's going to kill them.
So he's explaining to you what happens if they don't get killed properly.
And the undercover investigator got a very candid explanation from his fellow worker about that.
What happens if they don't bleed out properly? Yeah, if the turkey doesn't die here, it gets boiled to death. Their eyes pop out of their head, and they all swell up, and it looks like a worm. You murdered the animal by not killing it here. It's not just that. It's the fact that you just made its entire lifetime completely pointless.
He says you effing murdered the animal? That's the way he talks?
Yes.
You hearing him talk like that kind of freak you out?
It did. His type of language was quite horrific, the way he talked about the treatment of the animals.
Didn't seem to care.
No. It was just a normal day for him.
Normal day at the office.
Yes. During my time, I witnessed several birds that missed the blade. They also were missed by the backup killer, which resulted in them being scalded alive. I pointed that out. Birds that I saw, I pointed out to management. These birds were quickly thrown into the grate, which went to the trash.
And where was the CFIA, Canadian Food Inspection Agency, the federal government agency responsible for regulating food processing plants? It has an office right on site at the plant. But this undercover investigator claims he rarely saw an inspector, although he was warned that not properly killing birds could cost the company.
$5,000 a bird.
If the CFIA inspector had seen that, that would be a violation?
That's correct. I witnessed the CFIA very little. I would see them mainly in the mornings. They would come and check the truck to basically see if there was any dead birds, or to see if the majority of the truck was dead.
Were you surprised that the CFIA guys were not in the kill room or watching the whole procedure?
Yeah, I thought they would be there more. There was the odd time that they would come and check the slaughter line, but it was no more than maybe 2 minutes.
What did that say to you?
That they didn't really care, that they weren't really taking the time to do their job.
W5 contacted the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. In a statement, it says, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency takes the issue of humane slaughter seriously and provides oversight in federally registered poultry slaughter establishments. The CFIA also provided statistics, In the last 5 years, it documented 26 incidents at the Safina plant related to transport and handling, 5 incidents related to stunning and slaughter, and 0 incidents related to scalding birds improperly. This undercover investigator spent 3 weeks in the Safina plant gathering video.
Why did you do this?
Well, I think that Canadians, deserve the right to know how farmed animals are treated in factory farms and in slaughter facilities across the country. I think people would be shocked to actually learn what happens in these places, the type of inhumane treatment, the type of disgusting scenes that you will see.
Mercy for Animals believes killing any animal for food is cruel. In their opinion, the most humane choice would be to leave these turkeys off the plate. But Krista Hiddema recognizes that the majority of Canadians do consume poultry and claims they should know how the birds are killed.
There are methods of slaughter that are less cruel.
Why not apply them?
That's an excellent question, Victor, for Safina and for Lilydale.
Needless suffering.
What was happening was cruel, inhumane, and caused a lot of suffering to these animals.
Leads to a cry for reform.
Consumer pressure does make change.
When W5 continues.
It's a bloody business, a killing factory. But this is how we slaughter turkeys. Pull them live from transport crates, hang them upside down by their feet, and send them down the line. We've been told this is the accepted method of slaughter in this country, but we wanted an expert opinion. So we came here to Fort Collins, Colorado. Temple Grandin is a renowned specialist on farm animal welfare. We showed her the undercover footage from the BC plant.
That one looked like it was, I can't tell whether it was cut or not beforehand, but so far everything here on the bleeding machine is looking normal. It's good clear video, I can see it really well. Seems like the backup bleeder's getting them. And that's really important, because one thing a plant must never ever do is let an uncut red bird get in a scalder.
But birds do get scalded alive. Because remember how one employee caught on the hidden camera footage provides a graphic description to the undercover investigator.
Their eyes pop out of their head, and they all swell up, and it looks like a worm.
He's describing what happened to uncut redbird if he doesn't do his job.
Yeah.
And your job is to cut it and make sure it doesn't get tortured.
Grandin did see a few things she didn't like.
I don't know what they're doing to it there. Okay, you shouldn't be punching it. That should have never been loaded. That should have been euthanized on the farm. Should have never been loaded.
Now that you've seen this video, what are your overall thoughts?
What I've seen here is pretty much normal industry practice.
Normal industry practice. But is it right? Grandin says there's a better way to slaughter turkeys.
This window you can see in here, watch the birds as they get anesthetized.
Gas them first so they are not hung alive. It's called controlled atmosphere stunning.
The advantage that we get with controlled atmosphere gas stunning is you eliminate live hanging. The employees only handle dead birds after they come out of the gas stunner. Because even when you shackle live birds correctly, it is really stressful.
Stressful. Some would even say cruel. Grandin says she's a big proponent of gas stunning. And she has a YouTube video showing how it works.
This is a truck arriving at the plant after loading at the farm, and a plant employee is going to inspect the load of turkeys.
The turkeys arrive in travel containers. They don't have to be unloaded.
The birds come in travel containers that go into the gas stunning system on a conveyor. And then they come out the other end dead, and the employees hang them on the line.
Grandin says in the United States, the trend is clear. The turkey industry is moving towards controlled atmosphere stunning. We wanted to talk to Safina about their slaughter method and show them the hidden camera footage. After weeks of emails, letters, and phone calls, the company finally agreed to meet us at their head office in Markham, Ontario, so a team of their own experts could review it.
Hi, Danielle. Hi, I'm Victor Mallory. Hi. Okay, so we're going to go upstairs and show the people the... Okay, thank you very much.
But with one condition, no cameras allowed.
Oh, yeah, it was easy. Well, we met with Safina officials. They talked to us. There was about 6 of them in the office. They saw the video, they took notes, and then they said they're going to get back to us once they've had a chance to review their notes and talk to other people within the Safina organization.
We showed them the video, but after viewing it, Safina opted not to sit down for an on-camera interview. Instead, they issued this statement. All participants agreed that the practices depicted in the video comply with current industry and government regulatory requirements. The processes are in line with accepted industry standards. The company says all employees handling turkeys are regularly trained in animal care and proper procedures. We are surprised and disappointed by some of the statements made by individuals shown as our employees. These comments do not reflect our culture. To those not in the industry, the images may be challenging to witness. However, the processes established have been reviewed and continue to be reviewed by industry, regulatory, and other experts to ensure the most humane and proper treatment of animals is always followed. Acceptable to the industry, but we wanted to know what ordinary consumers think about the way we kill turkeys for the table. So we paid a staffing company to organize a small focus group for a story on food processing.
My name is Victor Mallory. I'm a reporter with W5. Now, how many of you here eat meat? So virtually all of you.
First, they watched the hidden camera video from the Safina plant.
You will have some twitching and movement.
And then the video showing the controlled atmosphere stunning method.
To audit electrical stunning.
What are your thoughts after seeing these 2 videos?
It's shocking.
Yeah.
It's shocking. Very cruel to do that to the birds.
He said that in one of the videos that if the birds aren't bled out before they hit the scalding water, then it's like a horror movie. But the whole thing kind of looks like a horror movie already.
Yeah, it seems like in the second process, the birds are actually cared for more and get not as much stress on them. And it also looks like it's not as stressful on the employees as well.
How many of you would prefer to see the second method? All of you. Do you think Canadians care how their food is,
yes,
particularly the animals?
Yes.
The beginning, yes.
Much.
Definitely.
They're very particular. They're getting more informed about it, and they read labels.
Be more upfront about how you kill your turkeys. Be more better on your packaging, on how you inform us of how it's been processed.
The public has a right to know, and then the public can say, we demand change, if they don't like what they see.
Yes. Yeah, I believe that's the way it should be.
Well, we vote by our
That's
pocketbook,
politics.
right? Like if we don't know, if we're completely ignorant about what the choices are, then we can't vote by our pocketbook.
Like how do you go from running happy in the farm or happy to the package, right? So that's why we don't really think about it.
So
We don't try to find out.
running free on the farm to the package, it's what happens in the middle.
These birds are born to die, raised for food, destined for someone's table. But are they suffering more than they need to at the end of their life? This undercover investigator, who spent weeks in a BC slaughterhouse documenting the deaths, says yes.
A lot with what was happening was cruel, inhumane, and caused a lot of suffering to these animals. You can definitely tell that they're fearful of what's happening.
Farm animal experts like Temple Grandin say there are better, more humane ways to kill the birds we eat.
Let's go. Come on.
Krista Hiddema, Canadian Vice President with Mercy for Animals, hopes these images of frightened flapping birds on the slaughter line will mobilize consumers to demand change.
We know that Canadians are compassionate people, and when those Canadians do eat animals, at bare minimum, Canadians do not want animals tortured en route from farm to plate.
Consumer pressure does make change, but we've got to make sure we make changes that will work. I just went to a poultry congress and just learned about some new innovative things they're doing in the US. Consumer pressure can make things change. I think we have to look at everything we do and say, how's it going to play on YouTube? Because there's no getting away from this. You can't get away from it.
In its statement to W5, Safina confirmed that it has just ordered its first controlled atmosphere stunning system for delivery next year.